Hi folks, it's Sunday evening here, sun's just going down. It's a nice time of night. It's been raining for the last sort of few days quite heavily, and it's a nicer day today. So I thought I'd come out and get a bit of a play with one of the prototypes I've made, which is an unusual occurrence because normally Alex from Easy Going Outdoors comes down and whisks it away, and sometimes I don't ever see it again. And in the case of the Shirley, for instance, I've made several of those, and every time I've made one, somebody's taken it. So I've not actually had a chance to use those extensively. So I'm keeping a hold of this one for the time being. So you can hear a fire crackling away to the side of the camera here, and that's a fire that I started by using this knife. So I took a video of it as I processed the timber. It was basically seasoned pine logs. I split those down, processed them down just using this, and then lit the fire with it using a ferro rod. So yeah, this is a new tracker. I'll just show you this now. So there it is. In fact, I'll take the guard off. There you go. So it's got my usual post-apocalyptic type finish, polished cutting edges, pronounced hook, Parmali scales, exposed tang with ferro rod striker on the end. In the end here you've got a 4mm and a 5mm hole for bending wire or attaching a lanyard to. You've got your hole for your bow drill adapter that I use in there. I'll just center that on my forehead so you can see it. You've got a 6.5mm hole here in this part, which may or may not end up being a locking mechanism on the sheath. I'll wait and see. And on this particular model, you've got a 5-inch saw up the back. This is my own saw design, which you may have seen on the Woodsman or the Frontline videos. It seems to be quite effective, so I've put it on here. And it's got a splitting swedge at the tip, and then a convex ground cutting edge, which varies between the front sort of hatchet section, if you like, and the rear draw knife section here. Polished choil, which allows you to have 3 different types of grip. You've got a choked up grip without going onto the blade, midsection grip, and then when you come back towards the end, the reason the handle is canted, it then allows the blade to present more of the axe section or hatchet section for splitting if you need it. Comes with a saw guard. In this case I made a red one because that's what I wanted, and it is magnetic. So it fits on the knife like so. So if you want to choke up and use it for carving or doing various things, you're not at risk of damaging yourself on the saw teeth, which are actually really quite sharp. The sheath on this one, again, it's just a plain Kydex sheath. I didn't bother with any slots in here. I just wanted to get this made to try it out. So it's 2mm Kydex, and it goes. There you go. So some specs on the blade then. As I've already said, this is quite new and tight. So the blade itself, from this point here to the tip, is 8 inches. Actually, it's just under. It's sort of 7 7/8. So what's that in millimeters? Just under 200mm there. I think this section here is about 5.5 or something, 5.5 at the front. I haven't actually measured this, as you can probably tell from my stumbling across the figures here, but this is about 2.5 inches, that's about 5.5, something like that. You've got a 1-inch choil. As I stated, you've got about a 5-inch saw here, and then you've got 40mm or something like that of a splitting swedge. It's textured on my spine, as I tend to do, to aid with grip. It's got custom made stainless steel bolts that fit inside each other to hold the scales on. The scales are only held on by this, they're not bonded, so you can take them off, you can clean underneath it, you can make sure your tang doesn't rust. by taking the scales completely off, cleaning all, putting them back on. Or if it's your want, you can take this off, lash it to a stick and use it as a spear, whatever you want to do. So there you go. It's made of 1/4 inch thick stock, so it's quite a chunky knife, able to take a bit of a pounding. And there we go. So this is it. There. So when I processed the timber to make the fire, I videoed it, and it was sort of ad hoc. So I split the larger sections down into smaller sections, and then used splitting by swinging the knife. I then used the tip swedge for splitting the sections into smaller pieces, down into probably about 1/2 inch in section, or 12 millimeters. And then I used the hook knife, the hook, the tracker hook, to make a few feather sticks over there. Now the first time I did it, I wasn't actually going to do that. I was only going to video the splitting section, and then decided just to keep on going and process the wood down. So when I did that, the first feather stick I did by holding the small dowel, if you like, against my chest and drawing the knife across. And I was barely on camera when I did that. Again, my phone is damaged, so the screen doesn't work properly, and I'm struggling to text or message or get into Instagram, Facebook and all these kind of things, because the screen doesn't work in certain areas. The whole right side of the screen, where a lot of the stuff activates or doesn't activate in this case, I can't get into messages and things. Actually getting the camera to go and record this has been traumatic, to say the least, trying to get buttons to work and things like that. So effectively I need a new phone, and I haven't got around to getting one yet. So as I was saying, I was barely on camera when I did the first feather stick, and I was holding it against my chest here and drawing across, and you can hardly see, but you can see the feathers being formed, but it wasn't the best angle to do it, and it was a bit awkward, and I think you'll be able to see that when I do it. The second stick I held loose and just drew feathers off it, and that was basically to keep it as best I could in the center of the camera, and also show how easy it is to make feathers with a tracker style knife. You're holding it loose in the air and just basically very easily drawing the knife back and creating these lovely curls. So I did that, split some more wood down. I showed different methods of using the different sections, the draw knife section and the fore section, to draw sticks back if you didn't want to use the knife, to create slightly more robust feathers, like your secondary feathers if you like. And then got them down there onto the fire, and again tested the fire steel striker at the far end here. That's what the butt's for, it's for striking a ferro rod, and I think it was the second strike that got the ferro rod, the feathers lit. So on the whole, for a first outing, I am quite happy with this. To some people this would be regarded as a large knife. Now I think this is more of a medium knife. Given some of the knives I make, this is more of a medium-sized knife. It may scare a lot of people in the UK because it is quite sizable, although they seem to have a fascination with the British MOD survival knife. This is a little bit larger than that, but quite a bit more capable. So yes, this one I think I'll be having a bit of a play with before I pass it on to Ego. And it's continuing my fascination with trackers, because the Woodsman tracker that I made, for me, does everything I want. But I haven't had a chance to make a new one for myself from after selling that one to Jim from Bushcraft Costa Rica. Part of the reason for that is because due to the war in Ukraine, 01 is limited in sheet form in the UK. 3 of the mills that supplied Europe were in the Ukraine, and they're now rubble, they're bombed, and obviously with the war going on, I don't know when that's going to start production again or even be rebuilt. So I'm trying to find alternative sources of 01 sheet, and we'll see what happens with that. So until that happens, I haven't really got a chance to make myself a Woodsman in case, you know, people want to order them. So coming back to the Woodsman. So the Woodsman itself is obviously a cookery tracker. and that increases the chopping capability, and for me that knife works very, very well. The larger one, which is the front line, works very, very well for Alex of easygoing outdoors, but some people just don't like kukris, they don't get on with kukris, and some people say a tracker has to be a particular shape. So this one here, I'll just take the guard off again, this one is closer to the original tracker shape, but it's got my own thoughts on it, if you like. So for those that like a straight knife or a straight tracker, more traditional, if you can call it traditional, because it's not that old a design, but a more recognised design along the lines of the WSK and that ilk, then this one here might be more up your street, or the Bark River, that kind of thing. But there you go. So that's it. This is the video. Let me know what you think. And if you're interested in talking to me about any of my knives, this one or any of my other designs, you can catch me on the email address that I'll put in the description of this video. You can get me through Facebook, and you can get me on Instagram as well under Origin Knives. But I'm shying away from social media at the moment. I'm sort of keeping off it just for various reasons. So if you want to get me, then yeah, the email address that will be in the description is probably the best way to do that. And again, if you want to see my knives in action, you can now see them on Bushcraft Costa Rica, as well as Easygoing Outdoors, and obviously my own channel here. So thanks for watching, folks. Bye bye.